this matters. So I'll go ahead and explain the dream. In my dream, we were actually in Hilton Head. We were not in Orange Beach. We were in Hilton Head, and my family was there. My mom and dad and my sisters and my husband and my kids. And we were out on the beach, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, bombs started dropping all around us, and mass chaos ensued, as you would expect. Everybody freaking out, and we couldn't figure out exactly who was responsible for dropping the bombs, but we knew that it was from somewhere over in the east. It was either China or Russia. We just had this sense that the east is attacking the west. And so we mass chaos, everybody screaming things, like the bombs were hitting the sand and just exploding and exploding and exploding, and it wouldn't stop. And so we all ran to our cars, and we were trying to get out of the area, and all of the roads started shutting down. And there was one dam that I don't know what this was in the dream, why this was important, but it was very prominent in the dream. And maybe if somebody if God speaks to you and tells you what this part was in the dream, and maybe you can tell me, you can help me with this. But there was a dam, and people were traveling through the dam, and that was our way out. And right before we started, almost kind of like the Holland Tunnel up in New York, that's not a dam, that's a tunnel, but that was kind of like how this was, but it was like elevated, and we were going through the dam, and we were getting ready to go through the dam. Other people were traveling through, and the dam shut down on both sides, and people got stuck in there, and we could hear like their screams and stuff, and they weren't letting anybody else out.
Or just weight on my shoulders to put out this video about the dream I had. And like I said, it was about over a year ago, actually. And like I said, I'm just a regular guy, born again Christian, spirit filled, and I had this dream, and it was so real. It felt so real. It was crazy, very disturbing. I told my wife about it too, but here it goes. I was sleeping in my bedroom, and in the middle of the night, I had a dream. Now, the first dream was, like I said, I was sleeping, and in the dream, I'm at Santa Monica. In Santa Monica, California, I'm over by like the pier, which is like, it's got like seems like a fair or carnival type atmosphere at the pier. It's a real famous pier in Santa Monica, California, and it was in the daytime, and it was real sunny. And for some reason, I thought it was the weekend, and everyone was just going about their business. And what happened was, we were looking out towards the ocean, and everyone was looking out there, and what we saw was like a foreign navy, and it was either like a Chinese navy, or like the Russian navy, and it was all out there. And there were submarines out there that had surfaced, and they were just kicking it out there, and no one seemed alarmed. It was like entertainment. Everybody was looking at it, checking it out, and wondering, what's that about and whatnot. And everyone started just going about their business and stuff, and just staring at it and wondering what it was all about. There was nothing in the news about it or anything. It was like a surprise. It just showed up, and it was huge. It was all over the ocean out there. And I thought, wow, what's that about? But for some reason, I just had a bad feeling about it. Then all of a sudden, they started launching missiles, all types of like missiles, bombs, so to speak, towards the entire Los Angeles area, the entire coast there, and of the Los Angeles area, that entire harbor there. And they started bombing us. And people started panicking and running everywhere, and then I woke up.
I was looking out into the country, a big flat open field. There's some hay in the background. I don't know if I was in Texas or where exactly I was. I'm assuming I was. And I just see hundreds of missiles or rockets raining down. And it's like I almost didn't know what they were at first, but you know, now I clearly know they were rockets or missiles. But instead of them landing and exploding, they just kind of stopped. Like before they hit the ground, they just stopped and were like fireballs, but in the air. They didn't hit the ground and land. And then I came out of it and I was like, whoa, and I wrote it down.
I had just left my career that I was in for 16 years, and I took a trip to Europe. And I was in Scotland staying with a brother and sister that I know in Scotland. And one night while I was there, I had a dream. And this dream, I was back home in Toronto, and I was walking around a city street. And as I looked up, I could see warplanes flying overhead. And I just, for some reason, I knew that they were Russian planes and that they were going towards the US. And I'm not sure exactly how I knew, but I knew wholeheartedly that it was Russia that was flying overhead, and they were not flying to Canada, but they were flying just past Canada and into the US. So I shared that with Philip after he shared his revelation with me, and just felt confirmation with that.
Series of dreams, one after another, all pertaining to China and Russia invading the United States of America. I've had a number of dreams regarding this topic, and yet last night I had multiple dreams consecutively pertaining to this topic. I woke up with a great urgency on my heart, and I felt like it was God saying, tell the people to be prepared for things to come. I do want to say that it is not foolish to prepare your home for things to preserve you for a season if needed, and it is definitely not foolish to prepare your heart with Jesus and to make sure you're right with God through the blood of the Lamb. In one of the dreams, I was speaking with an American soldier, and I was telling him what it was that God was showing me in respect to China and Russia invading the United States. And as I was sharing the details with him, you could see that he was very sober by it. You could see that he took seriously what it was that I was saying to him. And my hope right now is that the people who are hearing this message would also take very seriously what I'm saying to you right now. God has shown me on a number of occasions the reality of the fact that the United States of America will come under attack by Russia and China for sure. I'm telling you without a shadow of a doubt, 100% fact. You can expect this to come to pass, and I believe that God has placed upon my heart an urgency to express unto the people that this invasion will take place very, very soon. And I want to caution you to be prepared spiritually, get right with Jesus, and make sure your spiritual house is in order. And don't be foolish, make sure your physical house is in order just the same. Have some things in your home set back just in case you're unable to leave it for a season. Whatever you do, make sure that you're ready and prepared for worst case scenario. If y'all know me by now, I'm hoping and watching for the catching away of the bride of Christ. I'm watching for it. But I'm going to tell you this, that what I saw in the dreams last night and what I sense after waking up this morning causes me to believe that there's reason to be concerned and to be ready, because I do believe it's going to be soon. So take it how you will, take it to prayer and seek the face of God and see what it is He speaks to you. But again, I want to caution you, be ready for worst case scenario, because there's some things that's going to come to pass in the U.S. And if you live in the USA, then I want to encourage you to be ready in every possible respect, because times of trouble are upon us as judgment unfolds against this nation.
I'm a Malaysian who's currently living in Taiwan, But in this dream, I was in America. I was standing on the road. It seemed like a busy road. People just walking around, and there were very tall buildings on my left and my right. I'm estimating about, I think, 50 to 70 floors. And suddenly there was a bomb dropping right in front, somewhere right in front of my face, and caused a huge explosion. I've never seen anything like this before. I've only seen explosion in like maybe history book, or sometimes in a movie, or like media for a while, but I've never actually seen it right in front of my eyes. So everything perished. After the bomb, everything perished. I didn't have fear, and I didn't die, of course, because you can't die in your dream. If you die in your dream, you cannot wake up. So
I only learned it as Eagle Tower later. I didn't know the name of the tower. When I got to the top of it, there were 8 kind of nobular looking things aiming 8 different directions, north, south, east, and west, and in between. And I kind of looked at them, and they were in these notches like where you could fire arrows out from. And I was standing looking out over the island of Anglesey. Standing there when all of a sudden, in this vision, I was shot up into the heavens and looking down on the earth like you would look at a satellite picture. You see it every time you see the weather. It looked somewhat similar, and I had supernatural vision. I looked down and I saw a massive military movement coming out of the Icelandic waters up above Iceland. I couldn't believe my eyes in what I saw. I saw this massive military movement coming out of this area up in here. It came down in the Atlantic, down between the United States and Europe. It was marine and air, as you can see the airplanes. This was my first confirmation in the sense from General Walker. General Walker has given me many confirmations. This was my first picture of actually that they had drawn this assault taking place. It shows also the movement coming out of Europe across to take these countries. The NATO command center is right in here. So you're looking at some very, very serious fronts that Russia has been building and has. This massive military movement coming down between the United States and Europe just troubled me as I'm watching it. So then I looked off across at the United States wondering, well, if they're doing that across the Atlantic, what are they doing in the United States? That's too big to just be a maneuver. And I looked down, and as I looked across at the United States, I first saw the eastern seaboard of the Atlantic seaboard, and I looked and I saw these submarines look like they were parked right along our beaches, all the way along the East Coast. And what I mean by along the beaches is where the sands, if you fly and look down in the ocean at the clear water of the ocean, you will see the point where the beaches begin, the white sands begin to turn, and it gets darker, and you can see the edge of the beach, so to speak, or the sand that's washed back into the sea. They were parked with their hulls right at the point of where that sand was beginning to discolor and the floor of the ocean was coming through. And I couldn't believe my eyes. I mean, they were all along there. And so I looked, because at that time we lived in Portland, Oregon. So I looked off across toward Portland, Oregon. And I saw these submarines along the Pacific coast. And I began to look all the way down as I looked down in towards San Diego. There they were along our coasts. And as I was looking down towards San Diego, all of a sudden I saw motion all across the United States. And these radio towers, it's like they were coming out of the ground and going up into the air, and then they were dotting their lines out like they were broadcasting. And I was made to know that they were sounding the alarm. But as they began to sound the alarm, all of a sudden the broadcasting signals went out and they sprinkled to the ground like dust. And I was made totally aware in the vision that the warning was not getting through. And I shouted in the heavens and I said, "Oh no, Lord, the warning isn't getting through. They won't even know what hit them." And as I said that, all of a sudden, the first missile fired out of a submarine, and it went up and it hit right over New York City. I watched that city literally disintegrate into the atmosphere as that massive explosion took place. I mean, it was gone, folks. There'll be nothing left of that city. Then all of a sudden I looked down along the coast and about where I would say be about Miami, Florida. And I told them down there last night, and they weren't too happy to hear that. And I said, and Miami disappeared. And then all of a sudden, because I was seeing this happen here, I looked away then. So I don't know if there were more explosions took place between those two as far as the coastal area. I didn't see it. My concern was over toward Oregon again because my family was in Portland at that time. As I was looking over toward Portland, I saw another explosion. It looked like it was in the area of Seattle, Bellevue. That area went up, just like New York and Miami. Then all of a sudden I looked down, and here's another one going off, and it looked like the San Francisco area. Then down about Los Angeles, just about to Los Angeles, and then San Diego. I saw those 5 nuclear-looking explosions. And I tell you, they literally devastated everything. Whatever was in their path, it went into the heavens. In the Russian invasion vision, I saw that massive military. I saw them hitting in on the nation and hitting our coasts and pounding them. And then all of a sudden I was back down on the Eagle Tower looking at a leftward way down into the village, automatic, because that's the position I was looking at, standing in the heavens. And I watched the village. The cars are going. Normal speed. People were walking normal, talking normal. And I thought, and I don't know how long I stood there and watched, thinking, well, are the alarms going to go off at any minute? If this is happening in the United States, they gotta know it. They've got to sound the alarms. If there's that kind of a military going down across the Atlantic now, there's got to be some alarms set off. No alarm went off.
So I woke up, and I thought it seemed so real when I woke up. I had to like gather my composure, so to speak. I had to like snap out of it, and because I thought it was real. I thought it was happening right now, and I realized, oh wait, I'm in bed. It was a dream, but yet it wasn't a dream. It just seemed so real, and it appeared as if it was some type of like a vision type dream. You know, in other words, a dream from the Lord, a warning of an upcoming time in the tribulation, or the beginning of a tribulation. But it was coming soon. That was the feeling I got. And I thought, well, maybe, I doubted myself. I thought, well, maybe it's just a dream. Maybe it's nothing. So I prayed to the Lord, and I said, Lord, you know what? If that was real, if it was real, then I'm going to go to bed right now and give me the dream. Give me the dream again. If it's real, then let me have the dream again. Then I'll know it's real. Well, watch what you pray for. Because I fell asleep and I had another dream. Almost instantly. And it was dream number 2. The odd, crazy thing about it was the dream started where the other one left off. In this dream, in the next dream, dream number 2, I'm over in the northern part of Los Angeles, what they call the San Fernando Valley, and that's where you have like your suburbs and your neighborhoods and whatnot, mostly huge neighborhoods, San Fernando Valley. And what I saw was chaos. People running around, citizens, Angelinos, if you will, running around everywhere, all over, crying, screaming, in total panic like I've never seen in my life, not even in the movies. And there were soldiers. They were paratrooping, parachuting onto the streets. They were running around everywhere. It seems like the whole place had been invaded. And like I said, I couldn't tell you what the uniforms were for some reason. I couldn't even tell you the nationality of the foreign troops that had invaded. But for some reason, in my heart, I believed it was like Chinese and Russian troops. That for some reason, that what was pressed upon me. And they were running around and, of course, killing everybody. Everybody was getting killed. And they were like wiping us all out. No one was really armed. It's on our side, United States citizen side. No one. It did seem like no one, for the most part, the majority of us were not armed. And everybody was running around, and it was so chaotic. It was scary, and I was running around myself. But more like I was running around, but as a spectator, like looking around and seeing all this. But I could feel it also. And I woke up. And now it was scary because I thought, oh man, this is real. But then once again, for some reason, I was in doubt. I doubted myself. I doubted the Lord. I thought, man, maybe this is too crazy. I'm just a regular guy. And I said, well, Lord, if this is real, if this is totally real, give me one more dream and I'll believe it, Lord. And I fell asleep while I was saying that. And lo and behold, a third dream in a row about pretty much exactly the same thing. And it left off exactly where it was. The other one had ended. It started again. And in this third dream, it showed, it was more like, it was more chaotic, more destruction had occurred, and it seemed like this kept going on and on. It wasn't a one-day thing. And people were running around, and now people are in hiding and stuff like that. And this was the third dream, and there was more bombs, and it was happening all over the United States. I was just seeing the Los Angeles area, but I realized in this third dream that it was actually happening everywhere all over the United States. And what was occurring was, in this next dream, was it was more of the same, but like I said, all over the United States. And I was feeling what people were feeling, and it was utter panic. I can't describe it in words. It was like a hopelessness. Everybody was shocked. That's what the biggest feeling was shocked. No one could believe that this was actually happening, that this was happening to us, because we've never really been attacked except for the Alamo, Pearl Harbor, that sort of thing. And of course 9/11. But nothing like this magnitude, where there's troops running around like this magnitude. And people were in total panic, and I was feeling their heart. It's like it was like nothing I've ever seen before, and I woke up. Now, the fourth, so again, I thought, no way. And I was just amazed. And this time, I was just shocked when I woke up. And I knew it was just like the other dreams were. It just seemed so real. And this time, I didn't really pray and say, oh, well, Lord, give me another dream or whatever. But I thought, you know what, if it was real, if it was real, then maybe the Lord will give me one more dream, and I'll know for sure. But I was more like thinking of it myself rather than actually praying it to the Lord. And I fell asleep and had a fourth dream. All this is in one night, mind you. In the fourth dream, it was more of the same, and it showed people in their homes. And they're in their homes, and they're trying to hide. Everyone's trying to hide by now. And more troops are coming in. Foreign troops invading more and more and more. It was a total invasion of the United States. The skies were filled with planes. Bombs were dropping. Tons of United States citizens were being killed. And the enemy, there was really nothing holding them back. It was a total surprise attack, in other words. And the people were utterly shocked, as I was watching this. And I couldn't believe it. So it was more of the same on that dream. More. I could see the intensity of the plan of the attack. And it was a well-planned attack. I mean, we were overwhelmed. And it was evident that the United States was falling. That was the thing in the dream. And it was evident that this was the end times. It was the end times. I couldn't tell you if the rapture had already occurred. I don't know. I don't know if it was like before the rapture or after the rapture. But what I knew is that it was during the tribulation. We were in the tribulation. It was evidence because I could sense the evilness. There was definitely an evilness. It was definitely as a result of evilness of the devil, his plot and whatnot, and that's what was impressed upon me was that this was the end times, the tribulation. It was the fall of Babylon. It was the fall of the United States. It was part of the tribulation, and the United States was falling. And everybody knew it in their hearts. It was evident. This was the end. This is what we've been hearing about and whatnot. And everybody was definitely sensing it. And then I woke up.
Okay, the next one was short and sweet. We were all sitting outside in lawn chairs and stuff like that. I knew that there had been a big earthquake, huge, and we couldn't go back inside. We were waiting outside to make sure there weren't any aftershocks. We were all trying to hear news, get news from one another. And as we were sitting there, I saw what I thought was a parade coming, of all things. We were next to a river, and it seemed like it was coming down the road, and it was floating, going down the river. And I thought, oh, it's a parade. That's strange. And as they got closer, I realized it wasn't a parade. It was a convoy. It was a convoy of military vehicles. And it was war. I don't know if they were American or they were foreign or what it was. All I know is it was after an earthquake. We were outside. We were waiting for news. And these military came and a battle ensued. And we fought. We fought and hid. And bullets were flying everywhere. And I survived. And afterwards we were trying to find each other, to find our family members, to make sure everybody was accounted for, and to see if everybody survived.